In particular, I wish to recognize the presence of Mr. Hilder de Costa, General Secretary of the G7 Plus group of countries. My country, Afghanistan, had the honor of hosting Hilder, his team from Secretariat, and representatives from over 20 different countries, as well as representatives from large number of international and regional development cooperation organizations for the G7 Plus ministerial meeting held in Kabul in March this year. The meeting really was an opportunity for us to come together, discuss common challenges, share perspectives, and exchange views on where and how our countries and institutions and people might be able to join forces, strengthen synergies between us, and share our experiences and our resources to develop effective responses to the challenge we are all faced with. I believe the meeting was a great success and added significantly to the momentum on fragile-to-fragile cooperation, a key modality of SSTC. Let me also say that the broader G7 Plus work, especially the New Deal principles, which the G7 Plus group is rightly advocating for, is an effective framework as to how development cooperation should be provided. A more indigenous, context-specific, fit-for-purpose compact for improving not only the North-South, but also South-South and triangular cooperation. In Afghanistan, as some colleagues in the audience might be aware, the government is effectively reflecting these key principles of bilateral and multilateral, as well as regional and international cooperation in its national strategic planning processes. I would like to briefly mention some of our key national strategic documents, such as the National Development Framework, the National Priority Programs, our Mutual Accountability Framework, the Aid Management Policy, the National Labour Policy, and the Government broader Self-Reliance Agenda. These are important national processes which are best reflective of our context and particularities and effectively promote national leadership and ownership, regional coordination and cooperation, and building up of core country systems. This brings me to talk a little bit about how we see and define the different forms of cooperation in Afghanistan. I will start with regional cooperation, which has been the central pillar of our foreign policy and national development agenda. In Afghanistan, we understand and apply the term region quite generously, and that's to say for us, a region is not just a geography, but rather a process, an act, an art of understanding, of overcoming the geographical and historical barriers, and of exploring common and shared areas of interest. A region for us is, as President Ghani says, an act of imagination where past leads to the future and where present is a stepping stone for the future. I believe this appropriately broadened view of region enables us to explore more creative and pragmatic ways of working with partner nations and organizations from across the globe to jointly address our common challenges and work jointly with each other in pursuit of shared goals. I must also say that Afghanistan appears to have benefited greatly from this expanded view of regional cooperation, which takes different forms, including South-South and triangular cooperation. Driven by our goal of restoring Afghanistan's historical status as a hub of regional connectivity, a roundabout where ideas, people, and goods connect and disperse, we have launched, supported, and participated actively in several major regional cooperation initiatives. From RECA, Regional Economic Cooperation Conference on Afghanistan, to the Istanbul process, to the Energy Supply and Transport Initiatives, TAPI, CASA 1000, to the SARC and SCO processes, we have remained an active presence, a strong advocate, and a significant partner in advancing regional stability, peace, and prosperity through these mechanisms. These initiatives have the potential to generate direct and indirect employment opportunities for millions in our region. Although these initiatives have yet to produce concrete results, we are already seeing signs of tangible progress. We are of the view that these initiatives will encourage cooperation and help increase certainty and restore hope in the future of the region. We believe strongly that Afghanistan's stability is tied directly to stability in the region, particularly in our immediate and extended neighborhoods. Good relations with neighbors, regional cooperation, and support are essential to a stable Afghanistan. We are also looking at platforms like the G7 Plus to advocate for bilateral and trilateral mechanisms of cooperation, knowledge, and resource sharing, with a view to generate economic prosperity for our people through job creation. We are exploring opportunities of possible cooperation with countries in the region and beyond in the areas of natural resources management, agriculture, energy production, supply and transit, and labor force development and export. The core principle of our cooperation remains to be partnership that's based on mutual benefit and accountability and stakeholders' involvement. On international cooperation, which is manifested both in the form of triangular as well as north-south cooperation, I would like to say that Afghanistan has been a center of international political, security, and economic cooperation during the past 15 years. My country has benefited immensely from the generous assistance and support provided by our international friends. This cooperation has put 11 million Afghan boys and girls in schools, has built thousands of kilometers of roads, significantly expanded access to healthcare, increased our GDP per capita by manifolds, has built our 350,000 strong national defense and security forces, has improved the status of women, and has given us the great gifts of all major forms of democratic freedoms. Dear colleagues, while international cooperation is obviously essential to helping conflict-affected or underdeveloped countries transition out of conflict to a better state of affairs, experience in different parts of the world suggests that southern partnerships are vital in overcoming the current development as well as political challenges and achieving international agreed development goals. Southern partnerships, in my view, gives us greater flexibility in terms of mobilizing resources we might be receiving from or sharing with each other. Conflict-affected or fragile countries have two main sides, threat and potential. This is exactly how we see Afghanistan. We are a threat to regional and global stability if we remain unstable, and if we do not transform Afghanistan into a regional center of connectivity and cooperation. We are an enormous potential and can be a catalyst to promoting regional integration and economic prosperity and peace through southern triangular as well as north-south cooperation. The revival of the Silk Road, for example, a network of many commercial routes and one of the most sophisticated financial systems, of which Afghanistan was a central point, can give birth to a new era of regional and international cooperation. It will revolutionize commercial, technological, cultural connectivity, will lead to greater interdependency between major economies and smaller economies in the broader Euro-Asian region. It will lift millions out of poverty and will achieve important progress on arguably all international development goals and opportunities. I think I have said enough about trends and modalities of cooperation in my region. I would now like to share my view on what role agencies like the ILO can play in SSTC. I believe the role of the ILO and the work the agency has done so far on the decent work agenda is significant and important. I thank the ILO for its leadership on the decent work agenda. The Decent Work Country Program, the second generation of which we will be launching in Afghanistan, will help us deliver on goals 8 and 17 of the Sustainable Development Agenda. Similarly, as evident from the 10 policy outcomes, the importance that ILO attaches to South-South partnerships regional cooperation and partnerships as key to implement its development cooperation strategy is very encouraging. The 4 strategic objectives: promoting jobs, guaranteed rights at work, extending social protection, and promoting social dialogue, as set out in the strategy, correspond well to goals 8, 17, and also 16 are indeed a challenge, but I agree with the Academy's assessment that it also presents the ILO with an important opportunity to further accelerate its cooperation strategies. I thank the ILO for the 10 policy outcomes document which reflects the agency's strong commitment, but I believe the commitment is for 2016-17 period only. I'm sure the commitments will continue and will be renewed, but for sake of certainty and greater predictability in terms of what constituents can expect, I think the time frame needs to be expanded. After all, we're talking about the 2030. We need to a longer time horizon. An important topic for me is the modalities of technical assistance provisions. The ILO rightly recognizes the importance of SSTC in capacity building to achieve development goals, but my proposal is that we depart from traditional approaches of capacity building and shift to new model. We start producing capacity by making sure the modalities of technical assistance or capacity provided is based on principle of sustainability with a view to a long-term institutional and organizational needs of the constituents. Capacity must continue to produce capacity and be retained. Capacity in government institutions must not end with assistance from development partners stops. It must continue. At the end, I would like to thank the Academy for organizing this much-needed program. I believe we have important lessons to share with each other, for which this event is a very healthy platform. I congratulate the Academy on undertaking the LNA, Learning Needs Assessment, particularly for conducting the assessment in a manner which helped identify important areas with respect to the need for enhancing staff awareness on how ILO can best approach South-South partnerships. I believe these areas are very complex and require in-depth understanding of the rules and regulations of the individual countries. I'm happy that the assessment has recommended this, and especially happy that I'm here today to support it. I would like to end my speech with a famous African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Thank you very much.